The signal dies at 2:13 a.m. One final burst of static. One last promise from the radio operator saying, "Hold position. Rescue is on the way." Then silence. Not dramatic movie silence. Not cinematic silence with emotional piano music. Real silence. The kind that makes the inside of your skull feel too loud. The kind where the wind suddenly sounds mechanical. The kind where your own breathing becomes irritating. Most people think this is the moment panic begins, but strangely, for a certain type of human, this is the exact moment panic ends, because the second the rescue team stops existing, the brain is forced into a completely different operating system. The waiting stops. The bargaining stops. The fantasy of external salvation evaporates. And deep underneath the fear, another system quietly activates. A mechanical mindset. A problem-solving psychology built for one brutal realization. Nobody is coming, so the machine either gets fixed or you don't leave. Most people spend their entire lives psychologically outsourcing survival. The modern world trains this behavior early. If the internet breaks, call support. If your car stalls, wait for roadside assistance. If your mind feels broken, scroll endlessly until the algorithm sedates you. Modern society is built on invisible rescue teams. Entire economies revolve around convincing people they are incapable without expert intervention. The corporate jungle survives by making monkey dependent. Because dependent monkey buys subscriptions. Dependent monkey obeys notifications. Dependent monkey panics easily. Reality-based learning operates differently. Reality doesn't care about customer service. Reality doesn't care how overwhelmed monkey feels. When the engine overheats in the middle of nowhere, physics-based thinking replaces emotional thinking instantly. The radiator doesn't care about your anxiety. The alternator failure doesn't respond to positive affirmations. Mechanical truth is brutally honest. Either the system works or it doesn't. And this is where something strange happens to the human brain. The moment rescue disappears, artificial stress also disappears. The fake emergencies vanish. Suddenly, there is no inbox, no social media performance, no shallow productivity culture, no corporate burnout meeting about synergy optimization. There is only cause and effect. Observable outcomes. Machine logic, input and response, a leaking hose, a dead battery, a failing transmission. The problem becomes terrifyingly simple, and simplicity has a calming effect on the nervous system. Psychologists sometimes call this cognitive resilience. The brain stops spiraling because it no longer has infinite possibilities to fear. It now has one objective reality directly in front of it. Monkey opens the hood. Steam rises into the cold air. Most monkeys immediately start touching random parts like confused raccoons searching through trash cans. They yank wires, kick tires, curse loudly at the universe as if anger can intimidate mechanical systems. But the experienced monkey does something different. Monkey stands still, completely still, because calm under pressure is not emotional suppression. It's systems thinking, the disciplined understanding that random movement creates random consequences. Before touching anything, a monkey begins constructing a cognitive map, a mental blueprint of the machine: fuel, spark, compression, cooling, airflow, cause and effect. The troubleshooting mentality begins activating automatically. This is why experienced mechanics often look emotionally detached during chaos. Other monkeys mistake this for indifference. But internally, the mechanic brain is performing hands-on systems analysis at terrifying speed. Every sound becomes data. Every vibration becomes information. Every smell becomes diagnostic reasoning. Burnt coolant, rich fuel mixture, electrical heat. Mechanical intuition isn't magic. It's mastery through repetition. Neural adaptation through repetition eventually transforms conscious effort into instinct. The same way musicians stop thinking about finger placement or fighters stop thinking about footwork, so the mechanic stops translating reality into language. The body understands before words do. Neuroscientists call part of this embodied cognition. Knowledge leaves the abstract mind and moves directly into physical interaction. The wrench becomes an extension of thought itself. This is why hands-on learning changes people differently than passive information consumption. Watching 50 videos about spark plug replacement is not the same as skinning your knuckles against cold metal at midnight while trying not to strip a bolt under flashlight batteries that are slowly dying. One is entertainment. The other is transformation through struggle. The strange part is that fixing things rarely begins with confidence. It begins with helplessness. Monkey stares at the machine and realizes something horrifying. The machine does not care if Monkey feels unqualified. The machine doesn't lower the difficulty because Monkey is stressed. This confrontation with objective reality is psychologically violent at first, but over time it creates grounded confidence. Because confidence through skill is fundamentally different from motivational confidence. One disappears under pressure. The other was built by pressure. This is why garage culture creates a completely different type of person. The garage is one of the last remaining environments where reality gives immediate feedback loops. If Monkey installs the part incorrectly, the engine punishes Monkey instantly. If Monkey ignores torque specifications because of impatience, the bolt snaps without mercy. Mechanical systems don't participate in subjective validation culture. There are no participation trophies under the hood. No algorithm-driven applause, no fake productivity metrics, just measurable success or measurable failure. And strangely, this brutal honesty becomes emotionally stabilizing because modern anxiety often comes from ambiguity. Monkey spends all week trapped inside invisible systems with invisible rules. Office culture critique becomes unavoidable once Monkey experiences real-world problem-solving. A spreadsheet error creates emotional meltdowns because the modern jungle has disconnected people from grounded reality. Most emergencies today are symbolic, not physical. Notifications pretending to be survival threats, emails disguised as predators, digital overload convincing Monkey that every vibration in their pocket is life or death. But then Monkey spends one night stranded beside a dead engine in freezing rain. Suddenly, the nervous system remembers what an actual problem looks like. A real problem has texture, weight, temperature, consequences. You can touch it, measure it, solve it. That realization permanently changes how Monkey interprets stress. This is why mechanics often develop unusual emotional control, not because they are fearless, but because they have experienced direct experience over theory. They know panic contributes nothing to practical problem-solving. A calm brain notices details. A frantic brain destroys information. So Monkey slows down, checks fuel delivery, tests battery voltage, follows the system's understanding one step at a time, and eventually Monkey encounters the hardest part of all troubleshooting: the moment nothing works. This is where most people psychologically collapse. The first failed attempt damages the ego. The second creates frustration tolerance problems. By the third failure, most monkeys retreat into helplessness and start fantasizing about rescue again. But the mechanic mindset explained differently. Failure is not identity. Failure is information. Every unsuccessful repair narrows the possibilities. Learning from failure becomes part of the process itself. This is the hidden psychology of mechanics. Persistent attention eventually beats chaos. Not instantly, not dramatically, but consistently. Monkey learns that patience and persistence outperform emotional intensity almost every time. This lesson quietly spreads into the rest of life. Relationships, fitness, career struggles, mental health. The philosophy of repair starts infecting everything. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" Monkey starts asking, "What system is failing here?" This is how self-reliance psychology develops. Not through motivational speeches, through interaction with physical systems. Maybe Monkey learned this from a father during garage bonding rituals on quiet weekends. Maybe it was mentorship, through labor from an uncle who barely spoke but communicated entire philosophies through silent teaching. handing Monkey a wrench instead of a lecture, letting Monkey fail instead of rescuing immediately. Traditional skill transfer rarely sounds inspirational while it's happening. Usually, it just feels frustrating. But years later, Monkey realizes something enormous was being passed down. Not just car repair, identity through struggle, resilience training, masculine competence, the understanding that difficult problems are survivable if approached systematically. This is why working with hands feels psychologically meaningful in ways many modern jobs do not. Human brains evolved around tactile learning and physical causality. Tighten bolt, hear engine respond, adjust timing, observe measurable success. The loop is complete. Meaningful work psychology depends heavily on visible consequence, and modern work dissatisfaction often comes from endless abstraction. Monkey spends all day manipulating symbols disconnected from physical outcomes. The brain starts starving for grounded reality. So, when Monkey finally gets the engine to turn over after hours of failure, the emotional reaction isn't just relief. It's self-efficacy, competence psychology. A biological reminder that Monkey is capable of confronting uncertainty directly instead of emotionally fleeing from it. And this becomes incredibly dangerous in the best possible way. Because once Monkey truly internalizes the power of self-reliance, external chaos loses much of its intimidation factor. Monkey develops an internal locus of control so strong that even life disasters begin looking mechanical. Broken finances become systems understanding. Health problems become maintenance schedules. Emotional instability becomes diagnostic reasoning. Monkey stops waiting emotionally for rescue teams because Monkey has repeatedly experienced something the modern world desperately tries to hide. Most problems are understandable if you stay with them long enough. This doesn't mean Monkey becomes arrogant. In fact, the opposite usually happens. Mechanics become deeply humble before reality because machines punish ego instantly. Overconfidence strips threads. Impatience destroys engines. Reality-based learning forces respect, but it also builds self-trust development. Monkey no longer collapses psychologically the second uncertainty appears, because Monkey remembers the engine. Monkey remembers the freezing night beside the road when the rescue team never came. Monkey remembers sitting there alone, hands shaking slightly, flashlight balanced between teeth, trying to understand a machine that initially looked impossible. Monkey remembers the temptation to quit, the temptation to blame fate, the temptation to wait passively for salvation, and Monkey remembers what happened next. The system slowly revealed itself, one clue at a time, one bolt at a time, one failure at a time, until eventually the engine roared back to life, and underneath that sound, something else restarted too. The person. This is the deeper reason why fixing cars changes the brain. It was never about transportation. It was about rebuilding confidence through direct confrontation with reality. The machine becomes a mirror, a physical metaphor for overcoming helplessness itself. Repairing machines and life begin following identical rules. Slow observation, honest feedback, persistent attention, responsibility and ownership, no shortcuts, no magical thinking. No emotional escape routes. The modern world teaches Monkey to consume solutions. The garage teaches Monkey to become one. So here is the uncomfortable question. What part of Monkey's own life has been sitting broken with the hood open while Monkey keeps staring down the road waiting for headlights that are never coming? Maybe it's the smoking engine of a collapsing career. Maybe it's a neglected relationship making strange noises for years. Maybe it's physical health. Maybe it's the silent exhaustion created by distraction economy living. Monkey keeps hoping an expert, a guru, a motivational video, or some miracle productivity system will arrive and solve it. But the rescue team isn't coming. And strangely, that might be the most liberating realization of all. Because the second Monkey accepts this, the fear changes shape. Waiting ends. Action begins. Monkey wipes the grease off their hands, takes one slow breath, picks up the wrench, and finally starts learning how the machine actually works. If you enjoyed this psychology documentary on self-improvement psychology, mechanical thinking, documentary themes, and the hidden psychology of fixing things, do us a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and keep the garage running.